Hey everybody, my name is Russ, that is Lauren, and welcome to our Thursday music discussion video. And this is an artist that I think everyone knows, or everyone should know, but other than like, it's not an artist I don't like, but I've never bought even one album. by this
Okay.
guy, because you hear his stuff like everywhere. So this is one of those videos that's like good for fans of him, because then you can say like, oh, well, I would have picked the same as Lauren, or I would have picked different from her. But then it's good for people like me that are like, okay, so I know him, but like I don't know him.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair. That's totally fair.
As far as Neil Diamond goes, Lauren has picked the 5 songs to start with, and I feel like this is a guy who could easily fit into a couple other categories of ours too, like the hidden gems and what's so great about.
Yeah.
But this video is meant for people like me who might know some Neil Diamond, but like if I was gonna, try and get into him, these are the first 5 songs you think that I should.
Yes, this is where I would start, and I will tell you this much: I have a very specific era of Neil Diamond that I personally gravitate to. So much of what's here, all of what's here, is from that portion of his career.
Well, I feel like the Hidden Gems video might lend itself well to a different era as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But if you're gonna start with, so at least for me, this is the series for me that like is voted most likely to include hit songs. You know what I mean? Like in it. So so if I'd never heard anything by Neil Diamond, I've never been to Boston. What's the first song you would tell me to listen to?
So the first one for me is I'm starting with a song called Holly Holy. And what I love about this song is it kind of speaks to the diversity of Neil Diamond's songwriting, right? So this song very much has like a spiritual feel to it, and it starts really sparse as far as instrumentation goes, and then it builds and builds and builds until like he's like full throating things and there's horns and stuff behind him. So like this is a very like this song eases in, and I was like, well, this is a good one to start with too, because it eases you into the Neil Diamond of it all.
I agree with that. And then the other thing too is production aside, because I feel like strongly that a lot of Neil Diamond stuff, the production's very dated on it. Like
sure,
you can tell when it was recorded, but production aside, Neil Diamond's songs are very timeless to me. And like, if you would have told me this morning that this song came out in 1969, I would have been like, not true. You know what I mean? Like,
I get
like
that.
sound aside. So I think it's a great one to start with because it sounds timeless, and then everything else.
Yeah.
You said. So where do you go from there? Now this is one I think everyone should know.
This is if you shook me awake in the middle of the night and said, Lauren, what's your favorite Neil Diamond song? It would be Brother Love's Traveling Salvation Show. I get such a kick out of this song. It's so upbeat. It's raucous. And that's not a word that is often used when describing Neil Diamond music.
Right, yeah.
But this song is raucous. And the name, Brother Love's Traveling Salvation Show, like this feels like you're in a caravan on a bus just going around with people playing music in 1969. And I'm like, this song is when and what it should be.
For that, yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah.
The next one that you have on your list is funny. Again, like I say, I'm not a Neil Diamond fan, but this is one of those songs like when I was a kid, anytime I heard it, I was like, like that's not for me. But like the older that you get, the more you understand the messaging of the song.
Yeah. And I like that you started with that. I said. And up to this point, and for most of Neil Diamond's career, like he's very good with songs that speak to other people, but they don't feel like they're personal for him.
Right.
Right? This song, I said, is Neil Diamond has even said this. This was like one of the first like personal songs that he ever really put out there, because he was feeling some sort of way about where he was in his career, kind of what it meant for him, like as a human being walking this planet and stuff, and also the melody of it. Like you know where it's gonna go, but there's some little unexpected turns with the da 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 da. Like it just kind of bounces around in a really cool way.
Yeah, which I think is awesome. So far, like this is all stuff I don't disagree with at all. Like, where, like I happen to know these songs, but I would if somebody didn't know anything about Neil Diamond, I would absolutely tell them, listen to these first. The next one is one I don't actually, well, I listened to it for this, but I didn't know well at all coming into this.
Yeah, so Solitary Man, this was his first single, if I'm not mistaken. At the very least, it's off of his first offering to the world, you know. And Neil Diamond's first album, for how he came to be known as like the songwriter, his first album I think is mostly covers. Might have 3 original tracks on it, and
that was, I mean, very much a product of the time.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But this is, you know, 1966.
And
this
it's
is
funny. It's one of those things. It's like other people having hits with Neil Diamond songs at the time,
At the
but
time-
Neil Diamond not having hits with Neil Diamond songs.
Yeah, isn't
But
that crazy?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Solitary Man, it's musically, it's dark. You know, the message of it is also dark. And I think it, you know, this is a good introduction to who Neil Diamond is as a songwriter in that vein. So.
Right, which I totally agree with. I think with these 5 songs to start with, a lot of times what I try and do is, and like, yeah, we include hits in there and stuff, but I try and show people, like, especially if there's diversity in an artist or anything, like, hey, this is like what you're going to get across this artist, right? Now, having said that, the last one that you have on the list, I know most people would probably say like Sweet Caroline's the first thing you play for somebody Neil Diamond wise. To me, like, the sound of Neil Diamond is this song.
Yeah. And to your point, before I say it, like, I actively chose not to put Sweet Caroline on this list because, like, if you're going to know one, that's the one you're going to know.
Sure.
Cracklin' Rosie. And yes, this is, in my mind, the quintessential, like, this is what Neil Diamond sounds like song. And also, like, just on a personal note, my grandpa, my mom's dad, was not like super into music, loved this song.
Yeah.
Loved this song so much. So I have like a, you know, and also the Wrecking Crew is the band on this song. So it's like there's a lot of power happening here. And also, like, don't even talk to me when Neil's voice goes really low in this song, because I'm like, that's a man singing to you.
Yeah.
And I just love it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As far as a side note, backing band, Wrecking Crew and Funk Brothers, like, it doesn't get any better. I actually took you to Hitsville, and you got to stay in the same room where the Funk Brothers did all their business. I would love to go out into California and visit whatever ones are still standing, because I know LA just recycles a lot of its real estate. But any of the rooms where any of the Wrecking Crew did their business would be awesome to stand in. But yeah, this song, and another thing about Cracklin' Rosie, I don't know why, but the chorus of it sounds very show-tuney to me.
Sure.
Like when I was a kid, I just assumed it was from a show.
Yeah.
Or something, because it was back then we had a lot more. Like, I know musicals are still a thing now, but back then stuff like The Impossible Dream, the songs from Fiddler on the Roof, like Cats and whatnot. Like when I was a kid, like Memory from Cats, like and when Phantom first came about, like there were a lot of show tunes that were like big back then, more so than now in my opinion. And excuse me, and I don't know why. But every time I heard the play it now, like, I just assumed that was
like somebody was going to come out on stage and play it now.
I just assumed it was from and maybe I think when I was like 5 or 6, the jazz singer was a big deal too.
Oh,
and
sure,
so maybe
yeah.
I just assumed that like Neil Diamond was like the musical guy,
sure,
or something. I don't know, but anyways, I love
it. This song is great.
So those are the first 5 songs that Lauren would tell you to listen to from Neil Diamond. Please drop a comment, let us know what you think of her picks and what you think. Like, you know, for example, she left Sweet Caroline off for a reason, right? But if you're like, come on, like that's got, you know what I mean? Like, leave that comment, let us know. You know, me personally, like even. It's hard for me with Neil Diamond, but like I would have picked Daydream Believer, like even the Monkees version, and just be like, but here's him as a songwriter.
I think you just gave me a video idea of 5 Neil Diamond songs not sung by Neil Diamond that you should check out. So,
including the vastly superior, in my opinion, Elvis Presley version of Sweet Caroline. But
well, are we just making the list now? Is that it?
Yeah,
this is real time.
My name is Russ. That is Lauren. If you haven't done so yet, please drop a like on the video. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you can still correct that mistake. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to get notified when we get 3 videos every single week. And as we always say, thank you so much for watching.